Hey everyone, what's going on? I'm Mike Fancher, and welcome to this episode of the MindFit Method Podcast. All right, so I know that by now you've probably seen that I've switched the format quite a bit. I've been doing 2 episodes a week with interviews of guests that have come on the show, which have just been fantastic. They've been so exciting. I have learned so much. I hope you've learned as much as I have during these past many weeks at this point. But I have to say, I was kind of missing just talking to you guys a little bit, just about all the crazy things that run in my head. And I stumbled on something the other day, and I really just kind of wanted to share it with you because I thought it was something that I think a lot of people face today, and they don't really think about what the impact of these 2 things are. And really what I want to talk about today is what's more important, intensity or consistency? And you can put this into multiple different formats in life, right? Let's start out. You could do it. Obviously, it's the MindFit Method Podcast. You can talk about it in the gym, right? What's more important? If you're new to starting a fitness program, is intensity more important or is consistency more important? Which one tends to play a bigger role? And it really does depend. But when you kind of dig into this a little bit, I think you're going to find what matters more. Or you could talk about it in business. What's more important? Let's say you're starting a podcast, right? It's shocking. That's what I'm doing right now. But let's say you're doing a podcast, right? What's better, to spend all your effort, all your time, and all your money to making one incredible episode and then maybe not make another episode for 3 months? Or is it more important to be consistent and to just consistently put out 1 episode a week, 2 episodes a week, whatever it may be? But then understanding that consistency and intensity sometimes are going to flow together. Sometimes it's going to be a good thing and they're both going to be able to be increased at the same time. And other times one may cause a sacrifice of the other. And I just want to dive into this for a minute because when we start something new, we always start at 0, right? And we want to be 10, right? We're going from 0 to 10. Don't lose sight of the feelings you're going to have when you get from 0 to 1. Because 0 to 1 is a joy that honestly, you're almost never going to find. Even when you go from 9 to 10, it's not going to feel as good as it did when you go from 0 to 1. It's when you first started making progress. It's when you got out of your head, right? It wasn't just about, oh, this is what I'm going to do someday. It wasn't about how you were feeling or whether or not you had the motivation to do something. It was about you took action. You took a step, you did something. It was most likely an incredibly imperfect step, which is fine, but you took that step. Once you took that step, then what became exciting was that you started to see a result. Now, sometimes that result may not be the one you're looking for, but as Jocko Willink says, and you guys know he's one of my favorite podcasters, when something bad happens and you don't know how to deal with it, your answer should be good, because now you know. Right? Good. Now I took this action. It did not produce the result that I wanted. So I need to change the action. I need to adjust the action. Maybe I need to take a completely different action, but at least you now know something that you didn't know before you took the action, because otherwise we're just living in our heads, right? We're just in our heads thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be amazing. This is going to be fantastic. When in fact, the plan that you have to go forward may not actually be the plan that takes you forward. So I'm going to argue that consistency is much more important than intensity is, because if you can stay consistent, if you can be that person who does small little things 1 step at a time, but you stick with it, you are going to see long-term goals achieved. Your time horizon may be long, but we live in this world today where we constantly want instant gratification. And guys, we're not going to generally get it, right? There's a reason why most people that win the lottery wind up being miserable and broke, because they didn't earn it. They didn't, go through the process of making the money, understand what to do with the money, understand the value of money. They didn't go through that process. And we're always looking for those shortcuts today. We're always looking for those situations where I can go from 0 to hero in a heartbeat. And while that's great, and I see so many things online, so many sales programs and things where that's what the promise is, right? You see some guy drive up in a Bugatti and he's like, oh, if you do this and you buy NFTs or you do whatever it is, right? In 30 days, you're going to buy this car. We know that's not true. I mean, it's also not true in other parts of life. So you got to be able to say, all right, look, I've got to learn how to do the things that are actually going to make me successful. Because if I skip through all those steps and I don't consistently do those steps to make myself better, I am not going to be able to achieve the goal that I want. And if I do achieve it for some crazy reason, it is going to be the most unfulfilling goal achieved ever, because you didn't really earn it and it just doesn't make you feel right. Don't fall into that trap. But that's why, let's say people start a diet sometimes, right? And I hate the word diet, but people do it all the time. They adjust their nutrition, however you want to say it. Meal plan, nutrition, eat healthy, diet. But in the end, what we're all saying is we're trying to eat healthy. We're trying to adjust the things that we're doing when it comes to the nutrition that we consume on a daily basis. And I'll watch people say, okay, I'm starting this on Monday. This is the program that I'm going to do. And they go all in. How many times have you heard people say that? You got to go all in, right? Here's the problem with all in. For so many people, all in means an extremely high level of intensity. Now, intensity doesn't just have to be at a gym or running or anything. Intensity can be the number of new things that you are starting at the exact same time. Alex Hormozi talks about this all the time. He talked about how at one point, I think he had like 9 different businesses, and he was a train wreck, almost died in a DWI, and he wasn't making any money. Like all the money he was making was going back into his businesses. So his intensity was through the roof. But instead of just consistently staying focused on one of the 9 businesses, which he eventually wound up doing and now is worth like $200 million, he was failing. He was just floundering like crazy. We do the same thing. So if you're going to start on a healthy path, right? You decide, okay, I've got to clean up my act, right? I'm going to start working out. I'm going to start eating right. I'm going to start drinking 8 glasses of water a day. I'm going to get perfect sleep. I'm going to make sure I get my ice bath every day. Let me be honest with you. All of those things are fantastic. And yes, if you can get to a point where you can do all of those things consistently, you are going to be a force to reckon with. But don't lose yourself in the way to get that intensity. Don't lose yourself in the process and never get there because you can't stay consistent. Instead, maybe take a different approach. Maybe say, okay, I do need to clean myself up. I do need to start working out. But I know darn well if I say I'm going to get to the gym 6 days a week, it's probably not going to happen. So my goal for this first week is to get through 2 days of the week. And I'm going to make sure that I drink 5 glasses of water every day and that I get to bed no later than 10 o'clock. All right, do that for a week. If you can stick to those goals and you can achieve those tasks from day 1 to day 7 in that first week, that is a 7-day season, right? 7-day season. You just completed a season of something and now you're going into the second season. Otherwise, we're just like, okay, I'm going to do this. And then we flounder after like 2 days because we can't stick with it. And since we just proved to ourselves that we couldn't stick with it with that massive amount of change at the same time, what do? We give up. We say it didn't work, or, oh, I couldn't do it, or, oh, I'm too busy. None of that is true. You might just have taken on too high of an intensity at one time. Instead, focus on consistency. Find things that you can do consistently for 7 days and call it a 7-day season. When you complete those 7 days, add something to it. Think about this for a minute. If you go to the gym, right? You haven't worked out in 5 years. And you could approach this 2 different ways. You could go to the gym, spend 10 minutes walking on a treadmill, do a little bit of chest press, a little exercise of triceps and exercise your shoulders and call it a day, right? You're still going to be sore the next day, but you're not going to be massively sore. Or you can take the other approach and you can go in that gym and be like, I haven't been here in 5 years, but I'm still going to own this. And then you go in and you kill it for 2 hours. Guess what? You're going to be so sore, you're probably not going back to the gym for 5 days. And how is that helping you, right? Instead, go on Monday, go on Wednesday, go on Friday. The following week, if you found that you could stick to the 3, maybe move it to 4, right? Don't sacrifice consistency for intensity, or you're going to find that you're just not going to move forward the way that you want. And your likelihood of not achieving your goal may actually drastically increase because you couldn't stay consistent. Just my thoughts. I wanted to share this with you guys today because can you believe it? We are in October already. I can't believe we're in October. And Winter's coming. Before you know it, everyone's going to be talking about New Year's resolutions again. Screw New Year's resolutions. Start now. But start now in a way that you can stay consistent. Leave the intensity to the side to start. While it all sounds great, it may just not be what you need right now. What you may need right now is something that you can stay consistent with. If you need a coach, hire a coach. I have had some of the most amazing health coaches, energy coaches, authenticity coaches on this podcast for the last several weeks. Go back, listen to those episodes, listen to the advice and the insight that they have, because they do have incredible advice. And then if you just heard the episode this week that we released with Devin Rodriguez about really controlling your own story, learning how to tell your own story. You are the hero of the greatest story you're ever gonna hear, right? Be that hero, but be consistent. Do the things that you want to do. Stay focused, stay consistent. I know you can do it. Guys, thanks so much for listening today. Stay driven, and until next time.